Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Crouch, and this is Policy Talks, brought to you each month by Williamson, Inc., our Williamson County Chamber of Commerce, and we are excited to be back at Columbia State this morning. We've got a bright-eyed audience here in the community room, and a great program lined up for you this morning. Our subject this morning is Columbia State Community College. I think one of the finest assets in Williamson County, and we want you to get to know them a lot better this morning. We do want to welcome our audience with WCTV. Creed Henderson makes sure we get out over live streamed, and he explained that process to me this morning. I may get him to explain it to us a little better later on, but you could go to YouTube and search for WCTV and watch this live this morning if you would like. Of course, we are also live on WAKM AM 950 this morning, and have a great audience out there that we appreciate. And then, of course, we have some special guests here this morning. Dr. Janet Smith is here. She is one of our rock stars at Columbia State, and we want to get her to tell us a little bit more about herself personally and her career here. Here beside her is Dr. Darrell Lampley. He is the vice president here at the Columbia State campus in Franklin. And then also with us this morning, we got Graham Thomas, who's with tnAchieves. He is working for the governor and the Tennessee Promise program to make sure that any college senior that wants to go into college for free can do it, as I understand it. But we'll get you to talk about that a little bit more here later on. Ms. Janet, how long have you been with Columbia State now?
We're asking age now, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in my 16th year, so it's gone very, very fast. It just started yesterday, so.
Well, many of your predecessors tried to get this campus built in Franklin. There for many years, I always like to tell the story that I constantly heard when Columbia State was meeting in the old shop building over next to Franklin High School, everybody wanted to change the name to something besides Columbia State. And Dr. Janet Smith came along, and all of a sudden now we've got this campus that's worthy of any college campus in the country. And I haven't heard anybody say since, change the name to Columbia State or to something besides Columbia. So I think everybody in Franklin is now so proud of what we have here, and your enrollment is coming along quite well, isn't it?
It's coming along very well. And, you know, going back to those days, I think once we got over that, when the name did not need to be changed, that Columbia State had its heritage in terms of its connection with the state, its connection with having the only, being the only community college in the state that a president of the United States came to, and that was the First Lady was the one who dedicated it and so forth. It had a wonderful heritage, and I think people accepted that after we talked about that early on. And so the name then went away, but the community came together in terms of building this campus. So it was a community thing, and we worked together as a group and finding land and all of that. And then you can't remove Charles Sargent from the equation, a person who was so dedicated to this community and to the growth and saw the need for the community college here. And I think we're all extremely fortunate. I love the campus. Everybody that comes loves it. And I love it because it is a place that shows the care and opens it up for our students. We wanted a campus that said, come on in, stay, learn, be here. And that's what this campus does. And so if you're here when a lot of students are, they're just hanging around. They go to class, they sit around, there's different nooks for them to study in, different places. So it does what, as we developed it with the community and with thinking of what we wanted a campus to say to students, it does that. And the faculty and what they do and what the staff and the administration here do in support of students the campus adds to it. So we're very fortunate, I think, as a community, and I know as a college, we're extremely fortunate to have the facilities and the support that we do from this community. Thank you.
Being with us this morning. Dr. Darrell Lampley. Darrell and I are both cattle farmers, so we always have something to talk about. But Darrell, you're, is it a Lawrence County native?
No, sir. I'm a Williamson County native. I grew up in Fairview.
Always learn something.
So
But you're now where?
I reside in Lawrence County, yes.
And you've been here, I think, since the new campus was opened here?
No, actually not. The campus opened in 2016.
Oh, Shauna. I
Yeah,
forgot.
Dr. Jackson was here at that time. I've been here since 2018. Prior to that, I was Dean of Science, Technology, and Math, and prior to that, I was the instructor of animal science, and this is my 26th year with the college.
Now, tell us about the enrollment here at Williamson and how it started out and how it's going now.
Roughly when we came from the site there next to Franklin High School, we were probably in the 1,500, 600 range. The second year I was here, 2019, we hit 2,400, which was 20% above capacity for this campus. Hence, we got the approval for a new building.
Do we have any new buildings on the horizon besides the one that's opening up now?
So there's always a master plan. We have a 10-year master plan. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking we have 8 buildings as the total in the master plan. We don't have anything currently as a proposal before the state.
Dr. Smith, tell us what the new building is going to be used for and how that will affect the offerings here.
It's very exciting in terms of the new building and what it opens up for our information technology, our computer science program. And we have someone in the audience here in a little bit, maybe you want to talk to about that. But that area, we have a new art studio that we're bringing in art, which is something that's not currently on the campus. Then we have additional classrooms. As Darrell said, we were over capacity, so this allows us to have increased growth here at the college with the additional classrooms. We have an area called an innovation center, which we are hopeful to work with our community, different businesses for new technologies that are there that we can bring in that can be demonstrated to students or let students have a hands-on to see what's coming in the world. So that part we find exciting as well. A lot of different study areas for students. We have a place that's called the FIS, the FIS, which stands for Flexible Instructional Space. And when it is both an auditorium, so we can have speeches and lectures and small concert type things. It's a very small stage, so maybe a quartet or the like, as well as an instructional space for our students. So it's 150 seat. We're excited that that's a new element that we've not had before. So maybe at some time we do policy talks there and just to introduce people to that particular facility. And then along with that, as we moved our computer science from the health science building, we have renovated that space, or part of that space for anesthesia technology, which we've had it a while, but it's kind of been in a closet area, a storage area, and it was the only space we had for it, and part of the dance room for lecture. So now it has a wonderful lecture or classroom as well as a lab space. And then by building this way, we also brought in TCAT Dixon, and they will be offering a licensed practical nursing program here, as well as in the A&T building itself, there will be a digital graphics design program. So some new programs, space for growth, and space for trying out some new things.
We will circle back and dig into a couple of those here in a few minutes, a little deeper. But I want to get Graham Thomas to tell us a little bit about the Drive to 65 that Governor Lee proposed here, four or 5 years ago, and how that's going and how your what your role is in that, Graham. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. So the Drive to 55 is our state's now big overarching higher ed goal. It essentially says that by 2025, 55% of jobs in Tennessee will require some type of post-secondary credential. So we need 55% of adults in Tennessee to have a post-secondary credential. Today, we're sitting at around 45%. I will tell you that we were on track to get there, and we were really on track to kind of blow it out of the water. And then COVID hit, and just like COVID had an impact on pretty much every business or industry around the world, it had an impact on higher education in Tennessee. Our college going rate actually decreased 9% during COVID, back to pre-Tennessee Promise levels. So we are, tnAchieves, we're a nonprofit that operates the Tennessee Promise, which allows any graduating senior in Tennessee to attend one of our 13 community colleges, our 27 TCATs, as well as about 25 four-year universities for 2.5 years tuition free. So the state pays for a last dollar scholarship that pays for students' tuition and fees, and then we're really charged with doing two things. One, we track all the students' requirements. So we're tracking their enrollment, we're tracking their GPA. They have to do 8 hours of community service every semester. Our program actually in July just hit a pretty big benchmark. Our students have now completed 4.5 million hours of community service since we launched. So it's a program, a part of our program that we're really proud of. But then most importantly, we're charged with making sure the students are successful so that they're successfully transitioning from high school to college. And then they're successful when they get here. And we really primarily do that in two ways. We have an 8,000 person volunteer mentoring program. We need 8,000 people across the state to volunteer 1 hour a month to work with a small group of high school seniors as they are graduating and enrolling here at Columbia State, excuse me, or wherever it might be across Tennessee. The second thing that we do is we coach our students through college once they arrive. So what we learned through the first couple of years of Tennessee Promise is that if we put a low-income student on a community college campus in Tennessee with no additional supports, only about 32% of those students even came back for their sophomore year. And so what we do now, we have a staff of about 35 coaches. I was employee number 2 at tnAchieves. Our first year I was here, we worked with 491 students. This year we had 64,000 high school seniors apply, with about 30,000 college students. 35 of our staff, though, are working directly with our Pell Grant recipients on our Tennessee campuses. They are building relationships in the name of college success. And so what we found out was if we give a student a coach, someone that is helping them navigate their college careers, that retention rate goes from 32% to 74%. We now have some additional funding from the state where we can help those students pay for the things that Promise doesn't. So we're paying for computers, books, a lot of travel expense. You guys are fortunate here in Williamson County. There's a campus right here, right? Travel isn't a huge expense. But if you're in rural Tennessee and you're an hour away from a college campus, that's a huge barrier, right? Or if you're in an urban area and maybe you're only 4 miles from a campus, but it's an hour-and-a-half bus ride, that's a huge barrier. And so we're helping students with those things, and their retention rate has actually gone up to 82%.
Graham talks really fast, but he's,
Sorry.
he's actually a Williamson County native, believe it or not.
I'm from here. I'm a third-generation Franklin High School graduate. I'll slow down.
But obviously, he is excited about this program, and it's a great program. And how many of the Williamson County students take advantage of that program, Darryl?
Yeah, me at a disadvantage here. I don't know. Graham may know that number.
I do. So we get about 2,700 applicants from Williamson County high schools last year. The deadline for the students this year is next Wednesday, November 1st. So if you're listening to this, you're a high school senior, you know a high school senior that wants to take advantage of this program, you've got a little less than a week to apply. But we had about 500 of those students that applied enroll here at Columbia State. You know, that take-up rate is a little bit lower than we see statewide, but the demographics here are a little bit different than we see statewide. So that's not a number that is, to go from 2,700 to about 500, not a concerning number when your college going rate is 85% compared to a statewide rate of about 55%.
That deadline, again, is November 1st. When I was doing a little bit of homework to prepare for this, one thing that struck me about in the frequently asked questions section is there's not a lot of grace with this program. If you miss a deadline, you don't do your community service, you're out forever, right?
You know, I think that was really important when Governor Haslam introduced Tennessee Promise, and Governor Lee has been a huge supporter. We got $14.5 million in his budget last year to expand some of this programming. But I think it was important to the governor and to our legislature that, you know, our students have a little bit of skin in the game. And so there are some requirements. They do have to go the fall right after they graduate. They do have to do 8 hours of community service every single semester. They have to maintain a 2.0 GPA. So they've got to go to class and they've got to pass their classes. And so I think it was important when we launched, we were actually privately funded for 6 years prior to the launch of Promise, working in 27 counties. It was important for us that students had this opportunity because donors were providing it, and then our mentors are ensuring they're successful. And so we wanted to continue that tradition of giving back and ensure that our students are investing in the communities that are investing in them. And so it's one of those pieces of Tennessee Promise that don't talk about it a whole lot, right. But we also do some job shadowing. So job shadowing counts. So if you want to go shadow someone at Tractor Supply Company and learn about the jobs and opportunities that are available there, we'll give students their community service credit for doing that too.
Darryl, want to switch gears here and go down and start talking about some of the programs you actually have available through Columbia State. And unfortunately, I don't know which ones are available here and which ones are only available in Columbia, but
I can answer that if you'd like.
I figured you would. And
So in community college, we offer transfer degrees, which are Associates of Science. And then we also offer career technical degrees, which either are Associates of Applied Science or technical certificates. Here, we can fulfill the needs for any AS degree except agriculture as a transfer. For the Associates of Applied Science, we have an RN nursing program. We have anesthesia tech. And then also for the technical certificate, we have film crew technology. The other allied health programs, such as respiratory care, RadTech, students would have to go to Columbia for those.
for all that, so correct me when I misspeak here in a few minutes. But why don't you have an ag program here? I mean, everybody, it seems like, is wanting, you know, a few chickens in their backyard and a homestead, you know, on 5 acres or 10 acres here. As Matt Horstman, our extension leader, says, you know, every time we take a farm and 100-acre farm and cut it into 10-acre farms, we have 9 more farmers.
So that has been a trend, and while I was the lead faculty for ag, I saw a lot more students, especially from this area, that wanted those type of opportunities. It's still a limited student population, though, to justify a full-time person here and at Columbia. Now, having said that we don't have a full-blown program, we do offer animal science here on a rotational basis. So there are some opportunities, and also they can take their gen eds here and maybe spend a day in Columbia to get the ag classes.
So you do have the regular reading, writing, arithmetic courses that everybody thinks about when you go to college that transfer out to even a 4-year degree if you need it.
Yes. So back to the Associates of Science, that's 41 hours of general education courses. There are going to be 3 English classes, 2 histories, 2 social sciences, 2 fine arts, a math, 2 natural sciences. So we offer all of those. So, and we transfer extremely well to other institutions.
Just going in alphabetical order down through some of your academic paths, accounting, is that a popular program here?
It is. So we tend to lump accounting, economics, marketing, and finance together under the business program, and that's one of our largest enrollments as far as majors go, not only for this campus, but especially for this campus, but across the entire institution. We're probably somewhere in the 600 range for students in those types of majors.
Okay. You know, when we were talking earlier this week, and I'm going to go off the script here a little bit from what I told you we were going to do, but you mentioned a leadership academy that was conceived, I think, a few years ago with the help of the Tractor Supply Company. Tell us a little bit about that.
This actually falls under the term you don't like, the non-credit side of the house, which is workforce and continuing
You get
education.
credit for it, you just can't take it to a college. I don't like that term. But
And so we have a wonderful relationship with Tractor Supply and have had for many, many years, going back to when I was dean. And this was just an idea that came to us through one of those monthly conversations we have with Tractor. So if you would prefer, Melody Murphy, who is the Director of Workforce and Continuing Ed, would speak to that better than I.
we got Melody, and we got another fellow here that can talk about it a little bit too. We'll get his take on it. Melody, tell us a little bit about that program. It is kind of a business course in my book.
It absolutely is. And there is credit to this program, whether it transfers to another institution or not. I was thrilled when Tractor Supply mentioned it because we constantly hear about employers needing employees because people are aging out of the workforce or they're not coming back to the workforce. Some of those people you're losing are leaders and supervisors. So who's going to fill those roles for you? Have you thought about succession planning? Who's going to step up and be your next level of leadership when these people age out? And so when they mentioned it, it's like, yes, this is what we need to do. So I lovingly refer to it as a mini applied MBA. It's leadership skills and styles, it's conflict resolution, it's negotiation, communication, networking, and then also, not everyone's favorite part, but the finance piece, because that's a big thing. Understanding P&Ls and budgets and things like that. And we're doing it cohort-based, so you can network with other business leaders, other entry-level or new supervisors, so you can build that network of allies that will help you grow as a person, both professionally and personally. And it's something that I'm really proud of. We have registration open now, and the first class will meet on January 11th, so you need to get signed up.
Good. Got a gentleman over here that knows a little bit about Tractor Supply. Greg Sanford, stand up, please, sir.
You can hold the mic if you want.
Greg was CEO of Tractor Supply for how many years?
CEO about eight years, been with the company 17.
And retired a couple of years
Started
ago.
in 2020, the wonderful year of COVID. You know, once you make that announcement, you can't pull it back. So I left in August of 2020, and we started transitioning in January with the new CEO, Hal Lawton.
So tell me a little bit about why Tractor Supply thought leadership program was important.
Well, this goes back into the culture of the company. Joe Scarlett was really the main driver behind this. Many years ago, he set up programs within the company, saw the need to professionalize the company and give people, the tools to be good leaders. And in our industry, it's very competitive, and you really need, if you're going to move the companies forward, Tractor was a small company when I came, 300 and some odd stores, and I think the market cap is about less than $2 billion. Today it's $24 billion, and it's, they're headed toward 3,000 stores. So Joe saw the need. Joe put together a lot of the programs within the company, and then as time progressed, and different CEOs, Jim followed Joe, I followed Jim, Hal followed me. The company has always, even through the toughest of economic downturns, have always had these programs in place. We never took them out. We never, salvaged those to pay for something else. We felt they were important. So in the IT area specifically, there's so much competition. The technology is changing so quickly. And we said, we need to partner with somebody. At the same time, Columbia State said, we see a need too. And so that, I'll give Rob Mills and Al Laterra a lot of credit for this. They're the two that kind of put their heads together and said, how do we build this thing? And at the same time, share some of the cultural things that we do as a company with those students to make them better business leaders someday. Because knowing the IT sector is great, but you have to be a leader too. You have to take risks sometimes. There's things you have to do to propel the business that sometimes are uncomfortable and sometimes unpopular. So we try to give these students all of the things that we do inside of Tractors. We train our own people. And what I found is the students love it. I mean, they really have, there's an attraction to it because it's like hands-on. You get in there to see what business is really like, not what is just in the classroom, but this is on-the-job type training, if you want to call it, even though it's not credited. So it's been a wonderful relationship. I talked actually to Rob last night, And he said, yeah, he said, it's going well. He says, we're anxious to get a new group of students first of the year. And I'm pleased that it's continuing on. And I can't even remember when we started it, but it was 8, 9 years ago, probably, maybe even longer.
So for the
It's been a while.
internship, the internship and apprenticeship program, yes, I was dean at that time, so that was like 2015, 16, somewhere in there.
It's been in play, and from what I understand, it'll continue to be.
And do you have Tractor Supply employees or leaders that come in and help teach these classes?
We do. Actually, I know at one point I was involved in some of that. But here's the real, the linchpin to all this is getting these students to understand, number one, what business is really like, and we use this as a recruiting tool. There were some tremendous students that we pulled from this campus into our workforce there because we needed them. The competition for really high quality leadership people in any field in Nashville here is it's at an all-time high. And I mean, and Oracle has yet to move all their people. I can't wait till that happens. It's going to be another fiasco here with trying to find people because, not everyone from California will move here. So you can imagine they're going to have thousands of jobs available. So
That's okay.
yeah, well, it's good, but it's for the existing companies, it's a fear. I'm going to be honest with you. We're worried about it because, you start losing people. And I sit on a board here locally, Genesco, and we're concerned. We're building out that whole infrastructure, and we're afraid we're going to lose people. So it helped the company also attract talent and hold that talent because they knew of Tractor Supply. They had a great experience, through the program and so on.
Perfect. Wish we had more time to talk about this. I saw a TV show about a very successful entrepreneur over the weekend while I was waiting for the wedding to transpire that I had to go to. And the fellow made the point that there's a big difference between management and leadership. And I presume you are helping folks understand the difference. So glad to tell a little bit more about that. Moving on, anesthesia technology. That apparently is a pretty happening place around here. Daryl, Dr. Smith?
Let me talk about how it started, and have to look to Vanderbilt Medical Center. They came to us and said, we need trained anesthesia technologists because generally at that time and still in many places, they train on the job. And it takes quite some time. And they really need someone to be able to walk in that has the skills. And so in working with Vanderbilt, we built this program and we placed it on this campus. They worked with us in getting equipment and everything that we needed to get us started. And so it has been a low enrollment program, but a growth enrollment program and a much needed program that we're extremely proud of. And at this time, we're the only one, I think, that is in the South. And we're one of 5, I believe, in the nation. And we are noted to be a very top quality program. So it's a program and it's an area that is growing. And we think that in the future, that population of students is going to be quite a bit. So you can add to it from there.
I'd like to add one more thing. Vanderbilt really showed their commitment to this. They put their money where their mouth was. They donated some equipment, probably $250,000 worth of equipment, and the program director that we have is still on staff at Vanderbilt, so it's a shared position currently.
When I was digging into things, there are more and more things that I'm finding out about that are cooperating with the businesses and organizations that we already have here that need your help in getting their employees trained and so forth. So that's great. We're almost halfway through the hour, and I'm just now moving from the A's to the B's on my list. So we're going to have to step it up here, folks. But biology, you've got a research program that sounded very interesting.
So, I wish that person could be here that's over the research program. So I'll take a step back and talk about the instructor first. So Dr. Ebzova is a native of Russia. She's got a degree from University of Moscow, graduate work from University of London, did some work at Vanderbilt, and fell into our lab. So one of the things that she brought with her was an idea for a undergraduate research program, an honors program, if you will, for community college, which is almost unheard of. So she did a lot of work and found a grant through Howard Hughes Medical and the University of Pittsburgh Hospital, and got some donations for equipment, incubators, and so forth that would allow our students to do DNA research. The students collect that data and then present it across the country at various conferences. Almost a unique program for the community college level.
Breaking the mold in many places. The next area that we're going to talk about has a really unique story, but the computer information technology area, of course, is very important to the business community. And the last I heard, we still have a deficit of employees to fill the jobs in Williamson County and Franklin for that area. But you've got an asset here that is helping fill that void. Tell us a little bit about Marvin Johnson.
Marvin Johnson has a unique story of his own, and I think it demonstrates how these skill sets transverse different disciplines. Marvin, do you mind if I tell your story? I'm going to tell it anyway. So Marvin, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, had an undergraduate degree in IT, computer science, went to work in the field, and it didn't satisfy him. So he went back and got a nursing degree. So while he was employed as a nurse at a hospital, it was in the infancy of IT, especially for the area of to keep software records of patients and so forth. Well, he was asked by his hospital to develop that, and he did. And then it grew and it grew and it grew, and he developed a company and sold it, and he retired, got bored, and came to us.
What a skill set there. Tell us about the computer information technology area, Marvin, and what you're doing with it, what you like to see your kids do, and maybe tell us a success story or two.
I'm happy to. Well, the first thing I want to say is I want to put an advertisement out, because one of the things about our students in the IT department, if they're not transferring directly to a four-year university once they graduate, they're required to take an internship. And that's one of the areas where we really like to ask our community to help out. If you're a business leader or know a business leader, please ask if they're willing to host one of our students in an internship. Just reach out to the college, reach out to me, Marvin Johnson. You can find me in the directory. And they're required to take 120 hours of internship work. It can be more than that, but that's the minimum. And we find that, I don't know the exact number, but I would say close to half of these internships turn into full-time jobs for these employees. And so it's not just the employer giving to the college, it's the college or the students also giving to the employer, because why host an internship? Well, as has already been said, the IT field is very competitive, and there's just not enough workers for the workforce. And you know, the thing that surprised me most, I've only been at the college for 3 years, and what surprised me was I thought that every student that comes on this college would want to get a degree in computer science or information technology, because they're always looking at their phones, they're always, playing games, they're always doing stuff with IT, but they don't want to work in IT, which is surprising. And I think there's a misconception by a lot of students. When they think computers, they think this is too hard. I can't do that. And so I hear that over and over and over again, and it's not true. These students that come out of high school, they don't have the skills yet, but they do have the intellectual ability. They have the skill set, and we can coach them, mentor them, give them the right courses, and they can be successful in the field. And the other thing I want to say about IT, it's broad. IT, when most people think of it, they think, oh, I need to be a programmer. And most jobs in IT are not programming related. It's very vast. There's support needed. There is the just kind of the more the creative side of IT, so if you're into art and that kind of stuff, there's a place for you. There's, of course, the leadership and management side of IT and infrastructure. And then, of course, programming and that sort of stuff as well. So it's very vast.
Where is artificial intelligence going to take this course?
Wow. If I could answer that question, yeah, I would be, I could retire again. But yeah, artificial intelligence there's a big misconception about artificial intelligence. The first thing is that no, artificial intelligence is not going to replace all of us. That's not going to happen. It's not going to be that all of us are going to be sitting at home watching TV all the time and robots are doing all of our jobs. That's not where it's going. It's an augmentation. So it's going to help us do our jobs better and more efficiently. Just like, every time a new technology comes out, people get scared of it. That's throughout history. And this is just the next phase of that as far as I see it. I do think from an academic perspective, it is very challenging though, because students can use artificial intelligence, let's just say it, to cheat, right? And so we do have to get smarter as educators to recognize those things. And these AI companies, they are building tools out to help us recognize those types of things. So yes, there is the opportunity there from an academic standpoint. But I think as an educator, we need to figure out how to use AI in our classroom. I haven't done that yet. I've been thinking of ways to do that. In other words, we can actually give assignments and say, hey, use artificial intelligence to solve this problem. Because that's what the future is going to be. And companies are embracing artificial intelligence, so we as educators, we shouldn't shy away from that. We should embrace that and teach them how to use it to do their jobs better.
Little editorial here. Thank you, Marvin. I didn't take artificial intelligence too seriously until my son, who is a mechanical engineer in Huntsville working on rocket science stuff, asked artificial intelligence to write a program for him. He said it did a pretty good job. Now, he had to edit it, but when he told me that, I went, it's probably something I need to at least pay attention to. So, criminal justice. That is more popular than I would have imagined here a few years ago. Is it still a hot topic in this
Still
area?
is. I didn't research those numbers. I'm going to guess we're probably in the 150 range for students in that major. It's really survived, if you will, through all the turmoil that we had and defund the police kind of a syndrome. So this is something students really gravitate toward.
I'm going to just read through some of these areas because we certainly don't have time to stop and discuss each one of them, but early childhood education, economics, electrical engineering, elementary education, emergency medical services, engineering systems technology, English, exercise science, film crew technology, finance, international affairs, kinesiology. I never have really known what that was, but it's biology, right?
Yes, it seems like it's a precursor to areas like exercise science. It's very similar to that.
Marketing, mass communications, mathematics, mechanical engineering, medical informatics. I keep bouncing back to different areas that maybe are non-credit, but you've got a certified clinical medical assistant, which seems to be probably something that's badly needed out there with the way the healthcare system is growing as we all grow older.
So you did bounce back to the non-credit side of the house, and that would fall under Miss Melody, but I can speak to it if you'd like me to.
I'll come back to her in a minute, and she can maybe highlight that a little better.
Okay.
You go ahead and tell us about the nursing program and the other things in the healthcare area that y'all
Okay.
offer.
So we'll start with nursing. Nursing is one of the most popular programs that we have as far as demand. Oh, there's probably 500 to 700 students that are pre-nursing students that are not in the program, that are taking coursework as preliminary work to get into it. And then we only accept 100 students per year into the program. On this campus, that'd be 50 and 50 in in Columbia. The graduation rate of this program is really high because they're filtered heavily on the front end, GPA and ACT scores and that type of thing. Passage rate for the licensure is outstanding. A 5-year average at 99.3% of our graduates pass on the first try.
Wow. That's amazing. Again, there's so many things that I want everybody to hear about, but nutrition and food science, I know in my household, that's getting to be a huge deal.
That in itself is not a huge program for us, and it's a transfer program. And there's limited opportunities, to my knowledge, for those. I know at UTK there was a food science program, and there's different versions. There's dietitian-type tracks.
Well, I know there's a lot of moms out there that would probably take a non-credit course on that, but just FYI, because my wife is constantly reminding me what I should eat and what I shouldn't eat. But I probably need to take the course so I can argue with her. But the physical education, physics, political science, preclinical lab services, pre-dental hygiene, secondary education, social work. That kind of falls into almost into the criminal justice area. Probably not really, but into the public service type areas. Is that a popular program?
I would say it's kind of in the medium range for popularity. We have a lot of students that want to go into psychology, a lot of students. So whenever I advise a student in that area, I said, look, that really interesting, everybody interested in psychology. Let's look at something that has a definite job at the end of it. Social work is very similar, and you can get a license. In fact, my daughter has a license as a social worker.
Well, I know I hear from time to time my kids' friends majoring in psychology. I want to say, what kind of job you're going to get when you get out. But they just want to know all about that. Sociology, special education, sports and leisure management. I know that's another subject that it seems like a lot of my son's friends like to look at. Do y'all have anything specific to that here?
So again, that's a transfer program.
What does that mean?
Okay, so we're going to do the preliminary work, and there's going to be a lot of gen ed hours. And really, a student to get a job in that area is going to need a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, okay. Veterinary technology?
So Vet Tech is listed under Allied Health. It's out of Columbia. An outstanding program as well. We actually have a mini farm there in Columbia with horses and goats, and the students learn to treat animals. We have surgery, we have a radiology aspect to that, so it's very intense.
Pretty good opportunity out there for jobs in that area too, as I understand.
It's really improved over the last few years, especially in this area.
Now, let's talk about what y'all refer to as non-credit. There's credit for them, it's just that they're not credited toward a 4-year degree. And Melody, is that your area in general? Let's talk to you in general about how that works. It's, I guess, an opportunity for a lot of people that want to go back to school just to get a specific training in a certain area. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. So our department is workforce and continuing education, and we do a lot of professional development like the leadership program that I mentioned, but it's workforce and continuing ed. So when we're thinking about students coming out of high school and going into college, we're creating pathways. But what about the individuals that are in the workforce that need upskilling or need development? So our programs are deemed non-credit because they're designed to react quickly to the changing needs of the workforce. So in Murray County, they identified a need with an employer survey that they needed conflict resolution. Everybody needed conflict resolution in the workplace. I guess when they came back to the office from the house, they forgot how to be orderly. So that was a program that we put together, and we offered cohorts of that at our Columbia campus. We can do that here. We want to be businesses' ally for their professional development and for their training. And it's like when Tractor Supply pointed out to us some polishing for leadership development. All of our students at Columbia State are getting critical thinking as a key skill and learning some leadership and supervision throughout those business classes. But this is for those individuals that you've identified within your company that show up every day and do a good job. But just because you can do the job doesn't mean you can lead the job. And we want to shape them with that. Then with the medical assisting, that's another program that we have. It's designed to get individuals in and out quickly. So it's a 13-week program. They meet here at our Williamson campus. We actually have a grant through the city of Franklin to do tuition reimbursement for that. So we'll be offering it in the spring. It's a regular $2,000 class, and you can do it for $99 if that's something that you want to get into the health field. And that's because of the city of Franklin having CARES funds from the pandemic and wanting to partner with us on that. So they're called non-credit because they don't go through the full SACS accreditation program and making them certified. But
Specifically, what job does that prepare someone for?
it's a great question. How many of you go to the doctor's office and that person that checks you in and checks your vitals you think is a nurse? I always assumed it was a nurse. In a lot of cases, it's not. It's a clinical medical assistant. So they're trained in those skills, how to check your blood pressure and your vitals and even do medicine dosing and things like that. So they're the people that check you in so that way those nurses can be in the hospital taking care of us for our more critical injuries and things like that.
Great. What about your line worker program?
Yes, so our Pre-Apprentice Line Worker Academy is another great example of the community reaching out to us for a need. This was an area where a lot of people weren't going into that field. Like, how do you even get into it? What do you even do? So TVPPA, which is Tennessee Valley Public Power Association, approached Columbia State about this opportunity, and they brought in our utilities companies from throughout Middle Tennessee, and we worked with them, and we've created a 7-week pre-apprentice line worker program, and it is like a full-time job. These students are there from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday for 7 weeks, working and learning the skills so that way they can go on a crew day one.
Awesome. Any other programs that you think are big secrets that we need to get out there?
I have an online nutrition program if you're interested. I do. We offer a lot of,
Don't tell my wife.
okay, but maybe she won't see it. But we do have a lot of online offerings. So we are small in scale, but we partner with online providers. So if you're dreaming of something, maybe it's food and nutrition. Maybe it's how to lose weight and keep it off. Maybe you want to get funny. I'm not kidding. There is one called Get Funny to help you do better in presentations and speaking to others. So we have a lot of opportunities for ways that you can develop both personally and professionally. And if you are an employer, please reach out to me. I have flyers in the back. If you look me up on the webpage, it's Melody Murphy. You'll find my number and my email. I would love to talk to you about how we can help your business. And that's just something that I don't know that everyone knows that we do. We do a great job with students coming out of high school and adult students wanting to come back to school, but we can help your employees too.
You've got a program at Fairview High School that has been, from what I hear, pretty successful. Give us an introduction to it, and then we'll get the expert over here to give us more detail.
So that is a credit program for high schoolers, and it's for our engineering systems technology. And that would be Dean Mayron Mostagier. He can tell you more about that program.
Awesome. Thank you, Melody. Introduce yourself. I'm going to mess your name up if I try to say it.
It's Mehran Mostajir, and yes, the program at Fairview started in 2017, and what we did, we took all the program is engineering systems technology, and the way it works is the students take the courses online, they study it online, but they have to come to the lab and practice what they have learned. So what we did in collaboration with Williamson County, every equipment that we had at the Columbia campus, we brought it into Fairview. So therefore, we used grants, and of course, Williamson County chipped in, and so they have the same system that we have in Columbia, they have it in Fairview. And the students are able to, we set up a schedule for them, and students, by going through these curriculum courses, by the time they finish their high school, they can actually get an AAS degree from Columbia State at the same time that they get their diploma. Of course, they get the diploma first, and then we'll give them the AAS degree, but that's how it works. Right. And we have had our students getting, the program offers certificate and AAS. So some students may choose to just study for the certificate, and some go ahead and finish their AAS. We have had many students graduating from that program. In fact, I was just speaking to one of the graduates, and he was sitting at I think he goes to Alabama University. He was sitting in the class, and his teacher was drawing a diagram for a motor, and then he looked at it, and he said, that's not right. So he actually raised his hand, and he says, I'm not sure if that's correct. And then he explained why, and the teacher looked at him and goes, you're right, I did not do that correctly. How did you know about that? He goes, I learned it in high school. I have a degree at Columbia State, and he just, because all his friends were things asking him, how did you know that? So,
It was the University of Alabama, after all.
yeah. You must be an Auburn fan, I suppose.
I sent a lot of money to Auburn, so
Okay, so that's basically how it is. So we have had success like this. Many of the students actually continue to go to universities, and they get an excellent practice. And we also have the internship program, as we talked about. So they really spend about 180 hours at different companies to learn, and they really are prepared to go to work if they choose to, and some of them have. And then at the same time, some goes to they basically shave about 2 years of their degree, so they can pretty much finish in 2 years if they want to.
Meron.
Yes.
One of these days, I'll get that right. Thank you for giving us more insights there. And I almost saved the best for last. Holly, stand up and introduce yourself here.
Hey, good morning. My name's Holly Brewer. I am the enrollment recruiter and dual enrollment coordinator for the Williamson campus.
A lot of you all already know that I'm a big fan of dual enrollment because it saved me a lot of money once my sons went to college, because they were able to take many of their college courses while they were still in high school. And tell us how that works.
Yeah, so dual enrollment is an opportunity for high school students to go ahead and complete some of their undergraduate work while they're still enrolled full-time in high school. So we do offer these courses across the 5 campuses. It's very active in Williamson County. We do offer some of these courses embedded in 7 of the Williamson County public high schools. So that is where we send our professors to the high schools to teach in their classrooms. Currently, we offer English Composition 1 and 2, which is the freshman English, embedded in 7 of the high schools, as well as Moran's mechatronic program at Fairview. So dual enrollment students can dual enroll any class that they can meet the prerequisites for, whether that be an intro class or a class that they can test into somehow. So students have the opportunity to get quite a few credits before they even graduate high school.
It not only allows them, the reason I encourage my boys to do it is so they could get the English and stuff that they'd been kind of bored with in high school out of the way, and dive right into their major when they get into college, which seem to keep their attention a little better than some of the other things that they might be studying. But it's a great program, and I love to tell this story, but my middle son that was the brainiac in the family had 55 credit hours between dual enrollment and AP courses when he went to Auburn, and Auburn accepted 53 of them. So, the best universities in the country accept these credits, and they're a lot cheaper at Columbia State than they are at Auburn, I can promise you.
Yeah, and dual enrollment is usually the first instance where these students, these teenagers, are having to go through one of these processes, apply to the college, apply for financial aid, do a lot of these things themselves for the first time. But of course, I am here to help with scheduling, help with applying for the grant. There is financial aid for dual enrollment. We have a dual enrollment grant, which, similar to the Tennessee Promise, is a last dollar scholarship. So it covers tuition and fees. These students are only responsible for their textbooks and any additional fees that they themselves incur. So there is financial aid. It covers the first 5 dual enrollment classes, tuition and fees completely, and it offers financial assistance for additional classes, upwards of 5. But I'm also available to assist if parents have questions as well.
Great. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate your being here. Did we miss anything?
One more.
Go ahead.
Adults.
Yes.
And the Adult Reconnect. So we've talked a lot about the different types of scholarships with the dual enrollment, Tennessee Achieves. Also, Adult Reconnect. If you are an adult and you have not obtained a degree, may not have gone to college and you want to, you may have started college and for whatever reason stopped out and you do not have a degree. There is a grant that can help you, and it's called the Adult Reconnect. So you talk to the admissions office, and it works just like Tennessee Achieves does in terms of funding. It pays for your tuition, does not pay for your books, but pays for your tuition and general fees. So it's a very easy, open scholarship available to any adult who does not have a college degree and wants one. So that's another type of support service that's out there for our community as well.
You can go to their website and see all these programs outlined. If you've got an interest in furthering your education, just get on their website and look at all the things that are available. It is amazing. I saw a hand over here a while ago, and we like to involve the audience. Stand up and introduce yourself.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Annalisa Roberts. I'm with Williamson Inc., Chamber of Commerce. And my question is about enrollment in your education programs. So special ed, elementary and high school. What does teacher and pre-education enrollment look like?
Not as high as it should be, and that's troublesome. We've talked with Williamson County Schools about a Grow Your Own program. It's inched up some here over the last couple of years, but it's still pretty low. It's a concern, and you and I have had this discussion before. And if you think about it from a workforce perspective, if you look at the number of employees across any county, usually the number one employer is the school system. So it's not just a social issue, it becomes an economic issue.
Got another guest over here that, Patty Carroll, stand up. We thought your boss, Congressman Mark Green, was going to be the Speaker of the House there for a couple hours here this week. I think he would have been an excellent choice. I suspect you think the same thing.
I do. I think at that point we were all going, we need somebody. Y'all need to come together. And so we're happy to see. He kind of tried to stay away from doing that because he really likes his chair position, Homeland Security, and feels like he's really doing a lot of good work there. But I think a lot of pressure was coming in, like we need somebody that can, pull this party together. And quickly he saw that, Mike Johnson was moving up, and so he put his support behind him. But I think it was the pressure from, a lot of people even in the community, and then some of his colleagues were like, we need somebody to step up that could reach across the aisle.
I think he would have been great. Thanks for being with us this morning. Talked to Patty after the show this morning, and she can give you more detail, but I wanted to be sure everybody knew her and what her involvement is. We're out of time. It's amazing how fast this hour goes, especially when you've got so many good things to talk about. But I just want to thank Dr. Smith for getting up early and making it to Franklin. She lives in Columbia, and she's got a special needs daughter that, how's she doing?
She's doing well, and haven't had any big issues lately, so life's going pretty good. Thank you.
And Dr. Lample, you get up early every morning to get here, so.
And I want to take this opportunity to thank Williamson Inc. and you, Dave, for allowing this and promoting Columbia State. I appreciate it greatly.
Y'all are just an amazing asset to this community, and we appreciate what you're doing, and just wanted to try to help spread that word around the community as best we can. Just want to thank Columbia State again for hosting, allowing us to use their facilities here every month. Beautiful facilities, and I encourage everybody to come so they can see it. Appreciate Creed Henderson It's football season. Two of his staff are covering football games into the night tonight, and so he's flying solo this morning. Heather is on jury duty, so give him a pat on the back, and he always makes us look good. Tom Lawrence, we appreciate he and Tommy Jackson and the crew at WAKM for broadcasting us live. Williamson Herald's a great partner. We've got a new person with us this morning. Sarah, your last name is White, and she's our first time with us this morning. We appreciate what y'all do in covering the news that we are help you break. Got a couple of financial partners that we appreciate very much. AT&T, Dennis Wagner is he's close on to retirement, but I understand he's still around. But he's been an excellent partner with us here. Vanderbilt University is also a partner with us here. Lynn Maddox is she's not here with us this morning, but we appreciate what they do. And the Lion Leadership Group, Terry Remke is makes sure we have coffee here every morning. It's you just wouldn't believe how important that is. And Terry, we appreciate you getting up and getting here with it every time we do this. Obviously, the Williamson Inc. staff, Kel McDowell is kind of the quarterback on this event. And Kel, we appreciate the coordination and the help. Jenna back there behind him gets a little bit of social media out about it. We appreciate your help, Jenna. And Matt is solidly behind us, so we appreciate his support. No more policy talks for the rest of 2023. Holidays, you know, we figured the week of Thanksgiving and New Year's is probably not a good time to do this, so we're going to meet again in January. We'll have the Williamson County State Legislative Delegation with us then, and look forward to having y'all back. Hope you'll tune in and come. Thank you very much.